At the top of the hour here to do a little bit of housekeeping and some welcomes. My name is John Colborn. I am the Executive Director of Apprenticeships for America. It's great to have you here for today's webinar. The usual rules all apply. Keep yourself on mute if you're not talking. If you could, put your name and organization in the chat so we know who's here. It'd be great to see that. This is an interactive webinar, so feel free to use the chat to record comments, questions, just to amplify something you agree with. We really value the use of the chat, and we'll bring that into the conversation as we can. And then as we get to a place for conversation, use the raise hands feature so that we can recognize you and bring you into the conversation. With that being said, I am going to call us to order here and just note that this webinar comes as there's a really growing interest in connecting apprenticeship and college in different ways, sometimes for college degrees, sometimes for college credit. AFA just recently did a report on this. We looked at the landscape of apprenticeship degrees and offered up a framework of what we were seeing in the field around that. But our work, and really most of the work around apprenticeship degrees in the United States, has focused on the higher education sector. It's focused on what colleges and universities are doing to think about how they're combining the offerings, the academic offerings and the workforce development offerings they have with apprenticeship. Today's webinar is really an important counterpoint, and for Apprenticeships for America, frankly, a little overdue. As an organization that really values the apprenticeship intermediary role, this webinar is really intended to look at how apprenticeship intermediaries, in particular, one apprenticeship intermediary, OpenClassrooms, has been exploring the connection between apprenticeship and college. Through its partnerships with higher education institutions and with employers, they have a really interesting and robust story to share. And so today, what we'll do is hear a little bit from a panel that represents these different perspectives. I'll be interviewing them through the day and then through the hour. And then about 45 minutes into the hour, we'll open up for questions and conversation. Let me also just say our usual after the chat webinar rule applies. So anyone who's interested in hanging out a little bit afterwards to chat to panelists, chat with me about the content in the webinar or anything else that's on your mind, we welcome that. With that as foreground here, I'm going to ask our panel to introduce themselves. And we'll lead off with Pierre from OpenClassrooms. Pierre.
Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Pierre Dubuc. I'm the founder and the CEO of OpenClassrooms based in New York City, and I started this apprenticeship journey more than 15 years ago, co-founded OpenClassrooms in Europe, and then expanded the model a few years ago in the US.
Luke, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, John. My name is Luke Britton. I'm with University of Maryland Global Campus. I'm the Director of National Accounts in our Corporate Learning Solutions Department. And part of my portfolio includes the university's work with apprenticeships and intermediaries like OpenClassrooms, as well as some of the grant opportunities that we've come into as a result of that partnership. So excited to be here and to talk a little bit about that.
And Markel from Go Together, do you want to introduce yourself and your organization?
Hi, I'm Markel Jessup. I am a customer success and operations lead at Go Together, and we are actually a company that used the apprenticeship program firsthand.
And I'm not sure we have Kimberly on. Kimberly, are you there with Go Together?
She'll be joining in just a second.
Okay, excellent. She has some time, so that works out just fine. Well, let's start, Pierre, you and me, just to chat a little bit about your work. It might be good just to hear a little bit of background on OpenClassrooms. And in particular, you've really always valued this connection between apprenticeship and college. Maybe you could tell us about the origins of that approach.
Of course.
And
so
Sorry, Pierre, we have the wrong spotlight here. Freddie, can you fix that? Nope. Okay. Keep talking. You'll probably spotlight it. There we go.
All right, here we go. So OpenClassrooms is an apprenticeship provider. We're an online education platform. We're an intermediary, and we are registered as an apprenticeship provider at the USDOL level and at different state level. When we started apprenticeship many years ago, we always thought that the connection to higher education would be really critical. Why so? So first of all, when we talk to employers, we also realize obviously they want to get the right talent, the right skills for their business needs. When we analyze that, and notably the job descriptions, the job postings, we realize that a lot of them actually require degrees. We might have, a debate whether we should require degrees or skills. But the truth is, right now, the vast majority of job requirements include degree requirements. So the connection between apprenticeship and college degrees, associate bachelor's and master's, was necessary to us. So when we started building apprenticeship programs, we soon try to build credit articulation. So building the mapping of our training program within the apprenticeship into college credits. So we started working with community colleges, for example, in California with Bakersfield College, to map our training program into their college credits. And then that started with the related training instruction part. So roughly 1 day a week of classroom-based training mapped into about 15 credits over 12 months. And then finally, we started working with UMGC, and we'll hear about the experience today. And we managed to also build a very structured scaffolding of the on-the-job training part. So most of the time spent by the apprentice is actually on-the-job training. So we managed also to materialize the articulation into college credits on the job, and all of that together building about 50 to 60 college credits over 12 months. So this is where we are now.
Yeah, that's first off, amazing story. So, and give us a sense of the scale and scope here. So what kind of occupations, how many people?
Yeah. So generally speaking, OpenClassrooms is an organization that trains about 5,000 students right now. We placed about 42,000 students in the workforce last year, either on degree programs, apprenticeship programs, or certificate programs. We focus on white collar jobs. We started in technology related jobs. So think of IT support, digital marketing, data, cybersecurity, and then we're also expanding our apprenticeship programs in other areas like sales, for example, and probably next year we'll do healthcare.
Amazing. And at that volume, that makes you one of the highest apprenticeship producers probably in the country. So amazing work there. So let's just talk a little bit then about the partnerships that are necessary to pull this off. And I'm wondering if you could just talk a little bit about what your conversations have been like with your education partners. How have you sort of thought about that relationship and the value proposition going both ways? And then a little bit about what the conversation's been like with employers as you talk about apprenticeships and apprenticeships connected to college.
Absolutely. So we started working with community colleges. The idea of this partnership was that we could bring our know-how and our skills around registered apprenticeship. So we are registered, we have the curriculum, we have the know-how. Some community colleges wanted to either start running apprenticeship programs and didn't really have the experience or the registration, the systems, the curriculum. Some other colleges already had apprenticeship programs in place, but they didn't scale that much. So they wanted really to turbocharge them. So this is how we started. For us, working with community colleges or universities is really a big opportunity to address local employers and local students and graduates. So it's really a great way to leverage the brand of the college within the local community of employers and their students. The goal for the community college is obviously to increase the alignment to employers' needs so we can optimize job placement rates of their students and graduates. We can also generate additional revenue stream because together we also went for grants and RFPs, so we can attract additional funding into those apprenticeship programs and share the associated revenue. And then we continued on our higher education partnerships with four-year universities, hence UMGC, and you'll hear about this in a minute. Obviously, apprenticeship starts with employers. I think it's really critical. We have a lot of different partners, but the most important one I would argue is employer relationships. So we want to talk to employers, small businesses and large businesses, hear about their business needs in terms of jobs, skills, talent, and then build the relevant curriculum, find the right talent, and organize the matchmaking between their needs and profiles and candidates. So we do that as well as an intermediary. So we build many employer relationships this way, smaller businesses as well in a very transactional way in the sense that the complexity of apprenticeship should be really simplified by the intermediaries so they could access apprenticeship opportunities very easily.
So OpenClassrooms is that classic easy button, right, for apprenticeship. You
Absolutely
work with OpenClassrooms, they hide the wires and make it look easy. So let's bring Luke into the conversation here, and Freddie, if you can just spotlight Luke to add him to the screen here, that'd be great. And Luke, maybe just tell us a little bit about the University of Maryland Global Campus. What's the work that you do? And then we'll talk about how you connect to OpenClassrooms.
Yeah, absolutely, John. So just at a high level, the University of Maryland Global Campus, we are the largest online public university in the United States. We have about 100,000 enrolled students nationwide. And of that population, half are active duty military and their families. That's how we got our start. But the other half are working adults. And so the way we've designed our learning, it's asynchronous, project-based, has always been geared for that working adult who is, in addition to juggling the personal responsibilities in their lives, are also on the job and working in their fields or looking to break into a new career field. So in the context of this discussion, an opportunity to partner with an organization like OpenClassrooms and really augment the students' ability to pursue a new career path in a flexible way was really a great opportunity for us, and it's a great opportunity for our learners.
Luke, in a previous conversation, I think I learned that you're not exactly newbies at this online learning stuff. You've been at this for a while. Do you want to just what is your origin story?
Sure. So we got our start at the end of World War II. The federal government wanted to send professors overseas to the troops stationed in Europe and Asia. And the University of Maryland, College Park, the Terrapins had their own night school. And so they won that bid and sent professors overseas. The program was highly successful. And then, over time, through the success of the program and being able to reach those learners where they were, we became our own university. We're still part of the university system of Maryland, but we became University of Maryland University College, kind of keeping that European nomenclature. Recently, within the past 5 years, we became University of Maryland Global Campus. And then, of course, John, to your point, with the advent of the internet, we became an online university and fully online today. We still offer some in-person courses, but focus mainly on our military bases wherever they're located, both domestically and internationally.
I just love that story of, we think of distance learning as kind of a somewhat new innovation, and you guys have been doing it for literally decades. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your partnership with OpenClassrooms. So you've already identified that there was an overlap of population and mission. So tell us just a little bit then about how that has worked. What's been the role of UMGC, and then what do you see as sort of the value of the partnership to the school?
Yeah, so I think Pierre kind of touched on it in his opening, but we recognize that there's some big changes going on in higher education in the landscape. And employers, and from talking to employers, I sit in corporate learning solutions, so I'm talking to employers regularly. They want their employees to have skills and to gain them quickly, and to be applicable to their jobs. But we also recognize that there is value in the degree. So if there's a way to merge those two worlds, to a really powerful option for students and for employers, we want to be at the forefront of that. So I think in partnering with Open Classrooms, we wanted to be able to take their programs, their apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships, and be able to provide college credit on top of that. So their apprenticeships mesh very well with our offerings. We're very strong in areas like IT, cybersecurity, computer science. And so we were able to articulate their apprenticeships to corresponding bachelor's degrees at UMGC. And so we can offer up to 55 credits towards a bachelor's degree at UMGC. And now Pierre mentioned partnerships with community colleges. If we have a student in a hypothetical, or it's not really a hypothetical at this point, a student that comes from a community college and has some credits there, they can transfer up to 90 credits towards a bachelor's degree at UMGC. So really just making the experience affordable, and then also just being able to shorten that time to complete a bachelor's, and then really on the back end help them with job placement and launching a new career, working with our career services and our extensive network of employer partnerships that UMGC has, and of course Open Classrooms has.
It's excellent, and really a marker for quality in terms of being able to provide advanced standing and accelerated pathways where that makes sense for the learner. That's just great. Okay, Luke, don't go way too far, but we're going to bring in the Go Together team here. And so Markel and Kimberly, if you're on, it'd be great to have you join our spotlight here. Let's just start with, first off, do we have Kimberly? Kimberly, are you here?
I am here.
Okay, great. Freddie's going to find, there we go. Hey, Kimberly, great to see you. As Pierre said, you can't have an apprenticeship without an employer. And so Pierre, maybe just to lead us off, why don't you tell us how Open Classrooms connected to Go Together, and then we'll learn a little bit about the Go Together company.
Absolutely. So we organize meet and greet and career fairs regularly. I believe this is how we got connected initially, and then Kim connected to our employee relationships team, in particular with Nevona on this team, to learn more about apprenticeship and the opportunities to work with Open Classrooms and UMGC.
Excellent.
Yeah, and if I could add to that.
Yeah, please, Kimberly, jump in here.
Yeah, Pierre and I actually met last year at EdTech Week in New York, so that was kind of fun. But I am really, as a CEO, really invested in the future of work and the future of this next generation. And the apprenticeship really represents an opportunity for us to do that at the corporate level, at our company level. I also serve as the Industry Advisory Board Chair for technology for DC Public Schools. And so again, part of my passion to just see that this next generation gets access to the kind of jobs that are really going to help them create a new pathway of wealth for them and their families, and to make sure that they are up to speed on what is really happening in the workplace, recognizing that a lot of students are not going to college. And so as a pathway for them to get into technology, and apprenticeship is one of the great ways for them to do that. And what I love about Open Classrooms is the partnership between working with a corporation and having this time with a coach and a mentor and getting access to curriculum that they are being challenged to learn different ways of work. And Markel has really been the person who's been managing Michael, our apprentice. He just celebrated his year anniversary with us and is going to continue on with us. So we're very, very happy with the program and with the apprentice that we have.
That's just great. And I know all of us who are working on apprenticeship on this call just are like thrilled to hear a CEO espouse those kinds of beliefs, because that we need to see more of that. That's for sure. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the Go Together company,
Sure.
the work that you do, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you think about talent.
Yeah. So Go Together is solving a problem that's happening around the country, and that's school districts and schools really facing this two things: the school bus driver shortage, which is happening across the country, and also the expansion of school choices. So no longer confined to education, a school in your community. You can attend a magnet school, a charter school, so many options. And transportation doesn't always go with those options. So our platform is designed to work with schools and districts to help their parents carpool, their kids walk, bike, or take public transit together, whatever works in that particular district's communities. And so we do that using technology, and we do it in a very trusted environment. Parents get background screenings. Once approved by the school or district, they then onboard to our platform, and then we help them engage with other families using our AI matching features, and to be able to solve this problem, so that if a bus is running late or not going to be able to pick up their child that day, they can connect pretty instantly and work with other families to get their children to and from school, because they have a shared mission that their kids receive the kind of education that will make them become who they're designed to be.
I love that. And tell us a little bit about what your workforce looks like. Who are the people you employ?
Yeah, so we're pretty diverse. I've been pretty creative as an early stage tech company, where Markel is our customer success and operations lead. And so Michael's working directly with them. We've also used offshore live chat. We have a small development team, and then we have business development representatives. So the beauty of software is you can really expand your reach without a lot of staff that's required. We're also working with Arizona State University, another way for us to build into the lives of graduating seniors to help do our technology development, help us think and dream a little bit on products that we haven't exactly fleshed out. They help us build the beta of that, and then we take it from there.
That's excellent. And then how do you think about talent development for the company? What's the kind of talent that you need, and how? We've already heard a little bit about your inclinations about how you grow it, but tell us a little bit about what that means to you.
Yeah, so as a leader in my entire career, I feel like it's one of my superpowers to really identify leaders, particularly young leaders early in their career, and kind of see the things that they don't see about themselves, and give them opportunities to work on projects or assignments that might stretch them, but also knowing that they have the capacity to do that. So as we think about bringing on new talent, one of the things that probably is most important for us is how they're going to fit in our culture. We are a fully remote team, and so the ability to work independently is really important for us. The ability to be internally motivated in your work. I think that, and I know that Markel also does this as well, we give you the benefit of the doubt. You've stepped up for the opportunity. We're going to give you what the assignments are, and your outcomes to those assignments really demonstrate your commitment to that work. We build a team that collaborates really well together. It's a big part of it. And we also give people the freedom and the creativity, like Michael has had, to be able to take the assignment, do what he thinks is best, and bring it back to the group for us to give him feedback, and he goes back and changes it. And he's really contributed a lot to our team.
That's fabulous. So Markel, let's dig into that, what that's looked like for Go Together. So give us a sense of sort of how the apprenticeship came into being, how you defined it, and then now how you're managing it.
Sure. So, one thing I'll say is that it's been pretty effortless to integrate the apprentice to our established work culture. It really felt like just another new hire, really. There wasn't really anything different that we had to do on our part in order to bring them in. We interviewed, we onboarded, and we gave him tasks to do, to complete. He learned about the company, the things that he would be doing, and I help him along the way, guide him to what he should be doing, but ultimately let him complete it how he feels is best. We give him best practices, but he's able to build upon that. And it's been it's been a great experience overall. And what I really love about the Open Classrooms program is that it doesn't feel it doesn't get in the way of what we already do. It allows the apprentice to come in, get some real experience in the workplace, while at the same time getting that education. Open Classrooms has their own, regimen that the apprentice is doing on their end. They're getting real experience on our end. We're checking in periodically. I check in with Michael like twice a week just to make sure things are going well.
Yeah.
And I also check in with Open Classrooms periodically, about once a month, just to make sure things are on track. There's a lot of accountability that goes into the program to make sure that the apprentice is successful both on their end and our end as well. So I really love that.
That's great. And so Markel, does Michael, so he's in school as well, or taking classes as well. And so is he doing that in his evening and weekend time, or does he do that on the job, or is it sort of a mix? How does that work?
So the benefit of our company is that we have a really flexible schedule. We're able to complete work kind of on our own time, minus any hard meetings that need to be attended to. But it's generally do it as you can, as you go. And Michael has been pretty masterful at juggling not only his Open Classrooms work, our work, but also his coursework as well. During this past year, he was working on completing his bachelor's degree at Full Sail University, which he completed earlier this year. So he's been able to do a lot of things in a small amount of time, that just considering all that he has to do. And on top of that, he also has another job that he works as well when he's not working with us. So
Okay, that's a lot of energy for Michael. Good for
yes.
him. And so you've already talked a little bit about sort of the Open Classrooms connection here, in terms of providing the educational support, also providing a source of support for the program as a whole. And you said you meet with them once a month or so. What are the kinds of things that you talk about in that meeting?
Yes, so in those one-on-ones, I update on what Michael is doing for us, just the task that we have him completing. They update us on his coursework with Open Classrooms. Is really to make sure that we're on par for the course, because these apprenticeships last a year.
Yeah.
So we're just making sure that each of these projects are being completed in a good amount of time, and also making sure that the apprentice has the support that they need in order to complete those tasks on time, which he
Excellent.
has.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And so, just to wrap up this section, then maybe it'd be great to hear from the two of you. Number one, so it sounds like Michael's coming to the end of this apprenticeship period. Would you do it again? And sort of how do you see the value proposition here around apprenticeship and
Yeah.
the Go Together mission?
I'll take that. Absolutely, we'll do it again. We are closing a fairly large customer that also happens to be in Prince George's County, and looking to maybe add to our team to support that particular customer. We just see the value of, because oftentimes, even if you're a college graduate and you go to your first full-time job, particularly if you haven't worked during your college career, the beauty of open classrooms is that that student gets to do that work with a mentor outside of the job to help them acclimate to being in a corporate setting. Because students today don't necessarily have that. Like I said, we work with Arizona State University, and for their seniors that are part of our teams, we can tell that this is a new experience for them. They're excited about learning of how to show up for work, literally, be on camera, be responsible for what they have to do next. And the added mentorship and coursework that Open Classroom provides really gives the balance that we need, because in a fast-paced business like we are in, it's hard to set aside that time and to help do development in a way that's really meaningful, so that the person actually feels like I'm not only starting a new job, but I'm also getting educated to the world of work at the same time without having it be a drain on our resources. So it couldn't be a better partnership. So we definitely are going to add on with Open Classroom.
That's excellent. It's so great. Now, don't go away too far, but I'm going to bring Pierre back into the spotlight, and then we'll bring you back for questions and discussion. So, Pierre, I know that as you have been proceeding with this path, you're now looking at a different model, and so you want to just tell us a little bit about some of the new developments at Open Classrooms?
Absolutely. So really continuing on this journey to scale apprenticeship, map them into higher education, we started a journey a few years ago to become a university and obtain university accreditation, meaning that we would grant college not only college credits, but college degrees directly. And so we managed to complete that project this summer and obtain university accreditation. So Open Classrooms now can grant college degrees, associate, bachelor's, and master's degrees on the back of our apprenticeship programs. So it's really kind of the continuity of mapping apprenticeship programs into college credits, not only credits, but actual degrees. The key here was really the recognition of the value created by the on-the-job training part to gain college credits through professional experience on the job. This is where I think there's a true innovation in the sense that many colleges and universities struggle to recognize the value in academic terms. And this is where I think UMGC has partnered with us in a very innovative way to build that. So now we're mapping our apprenticeship programs so they lead to associate, bachelor's, and master's degrees. So we're rolling this out. We call that apprenticeship degrees. So a combination of degrees and apprenticeship programs. So really exciting news for us, big milestone, long journey, took us several years to get there, but also great value proposition to apprentices, since you can get paid while you learn on a college degree and get a college degree for free without any debts, while you're getting paid and getting valuable professional experience as you go.
Amazing. So, and something tells me that accreditation process isn't exactly trivial. It's not like you just fill out a form and you're done. So if you want to just walk us through, what did that process look like for Open Classrooms?
So we went for what we call regional accreditation, which is the highest form of accreditation in this country. So it took us a long time. It took us about 4 to 5 years to get there. So we built essentially a university from the ground up. So it doesn't happen overnight. That's true. It started with the first phase that was the eligibility. We work with an accreditation body called WASC based in California. There are 6 of them, 6 regions. So they deemed us eligible. Then we had to build this really gigantic application file with hundreds of documents, policies, and really showing our quality standards in terms of our programs, the way we assess, the way we train our teachers, our faculty, et cetera, the governance, the financial independence of the company, et cetera, et cetera. Then we had to go through an on-site audit as well. So we had a team of 6 from the accreditation body for 3 days, interviewing students, employers, teachers, staff, etc. And then finally, a commission that happened in last June. So really a thorough process to make sure quality is the essence of our programs. So that was the entire process. It takes a while.
And start to finish, how long? Maybe once you started work on your eligibility to getting the accreditation.
So I would say about 4 years total, and it really accelerated in the past 18 months. And being said that we were already accredited in Europe, so we already had a product that we felt was sufficient to get accredited. Obviously, if you're not there and you're building the product as you go, that could be even longer.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a multi-year process. I think that's not possible to achieve it in less than 2 or 3 years.
One of the things you said to me when we were discussing this is you said that one of your criteria for working through the accreditation process is that you weren't going to change your work processes for accreditation. And so tell me a little bit about how you sort of managed through that, because you don't look like the usual college or university that's going through.
No.
So how did that work with the accreditor? How were you able to sort of manage that?
Yeah, it's a good question. And so we're not your typical traditional university, right? We're online. We're focused on careers and skills and employers' needs. We talk about mentors. We don't really talk about faculty per se. It's project-based, it's competency-based, so it's quite different. But we chose to work with WASC, accreditation body, because they are deemed fairly innovative and open to innovation. So we want to make sure that it would be welcome, first of all. And then their set of criteria is really comprehensive, and we had excellent conversations with them. So let me take an example. When they assess the quality of traditional universities, they're going to ask about their campus, their library, their faculty, and so on. So they started asking those questions like, do you have a library? How big it is? And no, we don't. Then the conversation was really like, what are you looking for behind this question? It's not really about the library. It's about, do you provide free access to quality educational resources? And to that question, yes, we do. We offer catalog of free online courses, quality educational resources. So the apprentice and the student can really, study and learn what they need to do on the apprenticeship program. So this way, we really went behind each question, and I think WASC was open enough to really have those conversations. So we managed to really land this accreditation without changing our product. Nothing, no institution is perfect, of course, and some of the criteria we felt like we could definitely improve there, like any other higher education institutions. But we didn't really have to fill a huge gap anywhere. So I was pretty excited by this, to be able to showcase our work just the way we are, and we deliver value to employers and apprentices.
So, and then how do you see the accreditation now changing your work going forward? How do you plan to deploy that, or how will that impact your program design?
So it's still taking us a few more months to obtain what we call state licensures. So it's a state-by-state approach, so we can actually grant those degrees in each state. So that's also kind of a lengthy process. But we're a few months away, meaning that we hope that sometime next year, we'll be able to grant those degrees anywhere in the US. So from there, we'll deploy our entire catalog of apprenticeship programs and degree programs as well, meaning that at this stage, every apprentice could get a college degree in their apprenticeship program, associate bachelor's or master's degrees. So we're now also widen the catalog of apprenticeship programs into other fields than just tech and IT. Obviously, the accreditation is a very strong signal to the market in terms of quality. So to employers, there are quite a few training providers out there. How do I know that this is quality and this is really fitting my needs? Strong signal to students, candidates, families as well. Obviously, it's always better to have, a college degree than just a certificate by USDOL. This is great, but a degree will be probably more valuable in the long term. And access to also additional funding will be probably a consequence of this accreditation, meaning that we can really leverage Department of Education's funding to scale the number of apprenticeship programs we can offer and offset the cost that otherwise employers will have to pay.
So I have to say one thing. So as long as the accreditation process there's then the state process after that, and then to access the Department of Labor, if I remember right, there's actually a Title IV eligibility process to work, right? So it does seem like the receding deadline, receding finish line on that. But I mean, first off, so it takes a certain amount of just like, we're going to stick with this, right? This is not a process you go into lightly, but you're on your way. So that's great.
Absolutely.
So let's just to pull back from that. So and reflecting on what we've heard from Go Together and from UMGC, what kind of advice would you have for intermediaries on who might be on the call, who in terms of working with higher education partners, and then developing these obviously very successful relationships with employers?
I would say go and talk to your local colleges and universities, really, and go talk to community college around, the city you walk in. Try and see if they already have an apprenticeship programs. Would they be open to building one, to scaling the existing apprenticeship programs as well? Can we talk about credit articulation? Would they be open to that? It takes some time to build, the trust needed for faculty to stamp and approve those programs and grant fresh credits. I think it's a great way to do that. In certain states, we have also really political sponsorship also around apprenticeships, so additional budget that you can tap in to develop those programs in partnerships with colleges and universities. And obviously, the more funded and offset it is, the easier it's going to be for employers to come in and take the time to hire apprentices and be convinced by the value of an apprentice and an apprenticeship program as well. At the end of the day, you need to talk to a lot of employers. That's really the key to scale apprenticeship programs in a region. Lots of employers, big and smaller ones. We're big believers in small and medium-sized businesses because most jobs in America are created through small and medium-sized businesses. They're faster to act on, and as Kim demonstrated today, I think many of them have really a vested interest and ethics and values around investing in their local community. And I think that's great. And I think we should definitely leverage that and work closely with local businesses to make sure that we can unlock talent pools in the region.
That's outstanding. Well, listen, Freddie, let's take the spotlights off here so we can see everyone who's in the room here. And I do want to open this up for any questions or comments from participants on the call, feel free to use your raise hand feature or put a comment in the chat. Any questions? Questions on the apprenticeship process, questions for UMGC on its work, questions for Go Together on how they've worked with an apprentice.
Hi, this is Rosalind from Competency-Based Education Network. I'm so sorry, I don't know where the raise your hand function is.
No problem. Rosalind.
But I
Great.
do have just a quick overall question. I'm guessing for Pierre in particular, what would be, I guess, your pitch to, universities and colleges, or even, businesses who are interested in starting apprenticeship? What would kind of be your lead speech in getting the initial buy-in?
It's a good question. I think it's a different speech if you talk to universities or to employers. For universities, it depends if they already have existing apprenticeship programs or not. If they don't, I would start by explaining what apprenticeship means, the difference between apprenticeship and internship and co-op and so on. It could be a great way to increase student outcomes and job placement rates by placing more students and graduates into the workforce. That tends to be already a pretty good argument for most colleges. And it could be also a new revenue stream. You can leverage state funding, for example, to generate additional revenue through registered apprenticeship programs. So those would be like the main arguments. Obviously, if they already have existing apprenticeship programs, there's a way to scale the number of apprentices. It's usually hard to scale because of the lack of resources in the employer's engagement space. Usually colleges and universities struggle with that. When we talk to employers, it's obviously a different pitch. We talk about their needs in terms of talent and skills. Do they struggle to hire on specific jobs or not? If they do, this is your speech. You need to build a talent pipeline. You need to invest in the local community. Apprentices are more loyal because the employer invested in them, so they tend to stay and stick longer, be more engaged with the company, and create more value. It's also a way to build talents with exactly the skills that you need as an employer, so they're going to be effective and productive very quickly with the help of our mentorship, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you. And I do have one more quick question for Kimberly Moore and Markel. Prior to the position, I oversaw an apprenticeship program for early childhood education. And I'm wondering, with the implementation of your program, what are your retention strategies? Although we know that apprenticeships are great, how have you been able to retain your apprentices at this point?
Yeah, so Michael is staying on with us, and we're excited to have that experience with him. I think it's the kind of work that apprentice gets to do, right? I also think that as you're bringing in this generation of workers, that the ability to have some freedom in how they do that work and allow them to infuse their creativity and how to solve the problem that we have. So we will position the problem, and here are some ideas of what we have to solve the problem, and leaving space for them to add in how they think about it. Markel, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that. We've given him lots of different projects to work on, so variety is a big part of it.
Yeah, and I think it's, to add on to your point, Kimberly, it's getting more and more important, I think, for workers now, especially younger workers, for there to be purpose in their work. That's what's keeping them at companies longer. So we really did give Michael that freedom to kind of come into his own. So I'll say that he started off doing kind of basic support work, customer support work, live chats, responding to emails and stuff. But now he's basically driving our AI initiative.
Mm.
So, just letting him expand into what comes naturally next for him and for us. I think it just really helps him get invested in the company as well as the work that he's doing.
Oh, great. That's awesome to hear.
Rosalind, thank you so much for your questions. And thank you, of course, for the partnership with CBEN that we have. We so appreciate working with the organization. I'm glad to have you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, yes, here we go. Pierre, funding challenges. Oh, that. Maybe just talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the landscape and how that's affecting Open Classrooms' financial wherewithal.
Yeah, so it's a good question. So first of all, we talk about funding for the training cost and also partly to offset first year wages. So I'll start with training cost. We leverage federal funding, so USDOL. We won ABA2 funding with UMGC, for example, so that applies at the federal level, so nationally. We also leverage state funding. So for example, in states like California, we leverage state budgets into apprenticeship. And then at the county level, we work with workforce boards. So that's actually the case also in Prince George's County. And we can offset typically 100% of training cost this way, but you need to go and get those grants and RFPs one by one, so it's a little bit tedious. When it comes to offsetting wages, or at least between 20 to 30% of first year wages of the apprentice, so in favor of the employer, that is complicated. And it's highly local. It depends on every board, workforce board, not easy to scale at all. And I would say it takes time, burdensome, not very clear if you're going to get it. So if somebody has a solution, I would be interested. But I would say for training costs, that would be like the easiest, not easy, but easier way to do it. Obviously, for us, the accreditation will open up the door to higher education funding, and this funding is more systemic, so bigger and also easier to expect in terms of if you fit the criteria and the requirements, then you're going to get it, instead of it's grant based and with a fixed number and specific region and criteria.
And if I can just editorialize, of course, this is the direction that we think apprenticeship funding should go, we believe strongly in what we call a pay for apprenticeship funding model. Right now, some experimentation happening at the states, openness in some quarters in the federal government. But I think it's safe to say we do not have this at nearly the scale we need to. Joe Miller, I'm wondering if you would be willing to come on screen here, or just to tell us a little bit about what you're doing. Are you able to do that?
Sure. I can't, my picture won't pop up because my laptop's hooked to a monitor, but that does not have a camera. But yeah, I am the apprenticeship coordinator for Ohio's Area 20 Workforce Board. So I cover 5 counties here in Ohio, specifically around registered apprenticeship. And I'm working with one of our community colleges, Hocking College. Specifically, we're modeling this out with a commercial HVAC apprenticeship, where we have sat down with the employer and have built out 4 years of custom curriculum. So we're using some of the existing class structure that already happens at Hocking College, and then kind of incorporating some brand new stuff so that it benefits Hocking College and that they still have students in the classroom, so to speak, but it's its own unique program that's not their traditional classroom model. So they've been really willing to work with us. And so because let's say, for example, their math class is not their 8-week normal math class, it's only, a third of that. They can't get credit for the individual courses, but overall, they're taking the bulk of they're taking like basically 3 of the 4 years and condensing that and saying, okay, we are doing basically a credit by advanced standing that will cover 1 year out of a 2-year construction management degree if you decide to continue. And in my research, it seems like that's still fairly unusual. Most RTIs are still requiring traditional classroom model as far as like the credits they give and everything. So I'm really excited to see how this model turns out. We're hoping to expand it to other apprenticeships in manufacturing and some education and healthcare. But I'm just curious if there are any other colleges that have done anything like this where it's the workforce board and the higher ed and the employer working together to build out something custom.
Yeah, just first off, congratulations. That's really great thinking. I think you're right that still is unfortunately a fairly rare thing happening. But we did do a little bit of research around community colleges and apprenticeship. Did a report on that a little while back and looked at some of this. I actually would look next door to Indiana that has one of the most developed, especially for the construction trades, credit articulation efforts among community colleges in the country. But I will say every time I hear about somebody doing with this, there's some new twist that somebody's thinking about that's like, oh, that's a great idea. We need to be thinking about that too. And so I appreciate the innovation with which you're coming at this, and would love to stay in touch. Just let us know when you're ready to share something. We'd love to share that more broadly.
Okay, thanks.
Last question, Shubi. Shubi, are you on? Do you want to? Are you able to speak? Yeah.
I think you addressed it. It was really about the funding, and first of all, congratulations. Like I mean, to like become accredited is a very big deal, and obviously all of the next sets of hurdles that you're doing. But I did just want to understand the model exactly. Are you looking to fund 20 to 30% of the apprenticeship dollars for the employer? So is that like an offer you're going to the employers and you're saying, not only will we bring you an apprentice, but we'll also cover 20 to 30% of their costs?
Yes, correct. In a nutshell, that's it. We see in many other mature apprenticeship markets around the world, we see training costs being offset, and we see some sort of financial incentive subsidized towards employers paid by the government, being, could be federal, state, county level. And that really creates a strong argument back to that prior question. What is the argument for employers? Yes, you're going to build the talent you need, the skills you need, you're going to generate business value, is going to be efficient very quickly and productive, etc. But it's also cost effective. And the cost effectiveness is through offsetting training costs and partially wages. But right now, as I said, this is hard right now in the US to scale the wage offset through subsidize.
And definitely more to come on that. This is a significant area of work for Apprenticeships for America and for the field. And so we'd love to come back to that. We're at the top of the hour, so I'm going to close us off here. I want to give a special thanks to Freddie Rollinson, who's been my co-producer on this webinar. Freddie's apprentice here at Apprenticeships for America, and we're just thrilled to have him helping support our webinars and a lot of our communications work. So great to have Freddie here with us. And then I want to just encourage you to think about attending our next webinar, which will be on the 29th. And it deals with the question of group sponsorship and how group sponsorship can lead to a lot of efficiency in apprenticeship. A link to that is in the chat, and it's available on our website if you're interested in signing up for that. I want to thank everyone for participating, and I especially want to thank OpenClassrooms, the University of Maryland Global Campus, and Go Together for presenting in today's webinar. Thank you very, very much.